till the end. I guess I'll see them again. She said, go to sleep. Tomorrow you can weep. And then she sang a song. A black car took my brother, little sister. It took me from my mother, I never kissed her. Why couldn't it be any other holy mister? Instead I'm all alone, I can't find a home, but I could sing a song. When I'm home, I sing a song from long ago, before I was born. When I'm home, I sing a song from long ago, before my grandma's young. Now she sleeps.
All right, welcome back. Again, you're listening to KRCL's Living the Circle of Life. Yeah, that was Brock Stonefish with Residential Redemption off his Turtle Island EP. And then before Brock was, let's see, yeah, okay. Just had to make sure they were the same. The next one was The Kid La Roll with Love Again. And then Christy Lane St. Clair with Break. And then December Wind, So They Know. Yeah, December Wind, Tukey's group's Mohawk out of the New York area. And yeah, that's off their Hookah CD. And then Brenda Montana with Kuji Mak Git. And then Sultans of String with Nimi Hito. And then to start off that set was Chris Secola with Say Your Name. And that song is kind of off a story of a residential survivor, Margaret Polk-Aki Fenton. There's a book also that was written by Christy Jordan Fenton. And so, yeah, that's what Say Your Name was about, was a residential survivor. And, excuse me. Yeah, also, too, we have something special. So if you go to KRCL's .org, yeah, so if you got your phone out or laptop, yeah, go to krcl.org. And there'll be a YouTube TV icon. So we'll be doing a live streaming. So if you want to watch that. And in-house, we have Keith Secola. So I don't know, Keith, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Yeah, so thanks for coming in. And so how do you like the new setup?
It's really, really cool. You got to go through some construction. But it's like going down a dirt road, you know, and at the end of the dirt road, instead of a pot of gold, was an Indian car. But I really got absorbed into the songs that we were just hearing. I'm always am, you know, like you forget about what you're doing and listen to the words. And, you know, I know most of the performers like Brock. I know him from the Mohawk Nation up there in the Six Nations and the Haudenosaunee. And like Tukey's song, I produced that Hoka CD, and the Say Your Name song, you know, was something I did. And I like the song, Can We, I don't know the artist, that's the only one before Brock. But Say Your Name was based on that book by Margaret, you know, residential school survivor. and I recorded it right away in Tempe, Arizona. Shortly after I was up there, I was playing in Winnipeg, and I woke up early, as I usually do, being an older person now. And I noticed, wow, what's this crowd of people? Like, why is everybody there? And I asked around, and they said that they were taking testimony, that the Premier of Canada had these testimonies where Native people could come in and testify about the atrocities of boarding school. The only thing they couldn't do was name the perpetrator's name, which I felt was, well, like, that's, I guess, where the title came from. But then also the explanation of people releasing that negativity and saying their name. But I pondered a long time, because I knew that there would be sadness, in the testimonies. And I thought, well, should I go in there or not? And I decided to, as a songwriter and a recorder of our history, our oral history in contemporary times, I think that's what songwriters are. And so I went in there, and immediately, the words that the testifier was saying was like, it would happen at night. And from that first line, I could feel the sadness, and so that song came immediately, afterwards. And there were medicine people there too. Later on that day, I heard someone really vomiting, like throwing up profusely. And I thought, well, maybe someone had a rough night or something like that. But it was one of our medicine people, and he had the hands on the victim, and he was taking the toxic medicine from that person, and he'd go to a tree, and he would throw up, and it was dramatic like that, so that song came quickly, and I got into the studio shortly. When I got back from Winnipeg, I went to the studio in Tempe, Arizona, and put the beat on there and recorded a live drummer, put a little bit of medicine flute on there too. And then the opportunity to record that video, it presented itself. I think it was Pixar, one of the engineers offered their services to put that. It's a children's book that it's based off of, and so the video is on YouTube as well, Say Your Name video, but it's based on Miss Fenton's book, and it's a great book, and Margaret's in there, kind of chronicalizes her story, and so that's where that came from. I guess the details of the song and how the backstory of the song is interesting, because it sheds light upon the journey of our people. And so thanks for playing that, David.
Yeah, it's first time I heard that song. Yeah, because I think it was like, when they found those 210 residential kids graves, and just the movement that it did. And then the orange represents the ones that never came home. Then I was telling you about when I was heading out to Minnesota, and Cheryl Angel told us to come by Rosebud, because 9 of these native kids, they were bringing them home. And so it was just one of those things that I think the ancestor always leads us, because we weren't even planning on going to Rosebud, but we ended up going down. We were able to, see these children come back home. They did their ceremonies, and then they laid them to rest. And I think a lot of the families, they were glad to have them back.
And I think you're right about the ancestors leading you, because that morning I didn't intend to go to a testimony, but I ended up there. And then, after we recorded the song, Christie's book had the probability, and Pixar was one of the engineers of the artist. Liz Holmes was her husband was a illustrator for that, so he kind of put it together, and from that I felt like the term lead people gently to a brutal truth. It kind of come from there, and letting people shed the light on there and get into healing, and not so much of the next phase. I think the sound of healing is laughter, and that's so important for our people to move forward into that. I mean, we need to cry, and it's important, but we need to laugh too, and so that was the whole concept of that song.
Yeah, because that's one thing I noticed with your songs. They talk about history too. But then too, that's one thing about the native music. It's stuff that the tribes of Turtle Island are dealing with, and it's like, it's good. That's one way we can, let this information out that, we hear quit living in the past, but these songs are for the present and what's going on.
Yeah, I think that's a common thing that is part of racism too, like they tell you quit living in the past, but we're really moving forward, and it's a way to do it. I see music too, and like last night's concert is kind of conducting a modern ritual where we don't pretend to be like, okay, we're not doing a ceremony, but in a way we are, a modern ritual of Heyoka clowns, kind of, letting people dance and sing and getting them to sing along, talk about love and talk about fun times and things, and use a little bit of humor, a little bit of dance, a little bit of this and that. And it's kind of a modern ritual, so it's kind of, it is what native songwriters are chronicalizing the contemporary times. And so, yeah. But I'm glad to be here in this new studio, and it's got a piano in here, and it's got some nice lights and things like that, and here it is, early Sunday morning. So.
And you got your shades on.
I
the
know.
Man of mystery.
Yeah, of intrigue. I'm reading the book called Zorro. Man, what a great read. And Zorro himself has native blood in there. That's a story, like it's set in the missionaries in the early part of California, when Pueblo de Los Angeles was just a little pueblo, and Alta, California, and all the missionaries in Monterey. And the Indians, there are a lot of native tribes in California. But in short, there was an uprising where the chief was later captured, but the chief turned out to be a woman, and that was Zorro's mother, or his real name was Diego de Vargas, and then he had a vision where he seen the fox, and so even Zorro had native blood in him, and it was so important, that, and so I don't know. That's a side point. Sorry about deviating there.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Our relatives down south of us are actually Native American also.
Yeah, one time one of my friends was talking about Cesar Chavez, and he said, the last time I seen Cesar, he rolled down his window and he yelled to me, "Make all my Mexicans Indians."
All right, well, let's get into one of your songs. So which song you going to play for us?
This one is called Something to Complain About.
Okay, well, go ahead and take it away.
The sky is blue, the grass is green, purple mountains. I need something to complain about. My feet hurt, my back's broke, my heart aches. Give me something to complain about. Why you don't love me anymore? Why you don't need me anymore? Why you don't want me anymore? Ooh, want me anymore? Ooh, need me anymore? Ah, give me something to complain about. Life is good, life is grand, life is all that it should be. I need something to complain about. Overdue, underpaid, without you. Give me something to complain about. Why you don't love me anymore? Why you don't need me anymore? Why you don't love me anymore? You don't need me anymore. You don't want me anymore. Something to complain about. Give me something to complain about. I need something to complain about. Some real first world problems, like my golf cart is flat, the tires. I need something to complain about. Give me something to complain about. Life is grand.
All right. Yeah, that was a good song.
Yeah, you know, the real reality, you know, people like to complain, but, you know, there's a part in there, why you don't love me anymore, why don't you need me anymore, why don't you want me anymore, you know, it's kind of, when you get down to it, those are the things that matter.
Yeah, yeah. And it's always good because with your songs, you're always trying to tap into that uplifting, positive
Yeah.
messages.
I like to, yeah, you know, a lot of times live I'll say, everybody think of a first world problem, you know, like I could only think of a golf cart's tire being flat this morning, you know, like when we have so much to deal with and, you know, a real first world problem, and I'll have people yell them out, you know, and they do. It's really a fun song to do live. And I love doing the harmonics in there too, kind of a little Zen moment, you know, and in the morning it's kind of like a little wake-up call. So yeah, I have fun playing that song. I recorded it in several ways. I have a recording coming out in the spring with that song on it, and I went into the studio in Philadelphia, and we recorded that song with a bunch of singers, and then I also have a really rock punk version of it too, and that was fun too, you know, like life is good, life is, you know, like fast, and that's the thing, when you write a song, you know, you get the opportunity to do different versions of it, and each one has its place, and you don't really get too concerned about it, and sometimes when you play it live, you know, it comes out in the moment, you know, how we're going to perform it and things. Never really tried to emanate any recordings or anything. I feel like playing live is such a stream of consciousness. I don't even really like to have a set list, you know, and go by it. And I know I have band members sometimes, they refer to it as a wish list and trying to play the songs and things. And because I feel like many times you're a quarterback who uses audibles, you know, like you tell the line, well, there's an opening there, so we're going to play this song. Or you read the audience, you know, what songs are they ready for? And it is such a stream of consciousness, you know, and being kind of from the jam band format, that's a fun thing to do. And so that song is one of them songs.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, and you did put on a good show last night, and yeah, and actually it was finally good to meet you. You know, we've been talking for a while through.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. It was really a pleasure, you know, to see all the work you're doing and what you're doing with the radio station and this new series that you're creating. Some activism and some awareness in Salt Lake City, and you know, I wish you all the luck, and we'll give you all the support as well.
All right, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, so you got another song for us?
Yeah, I do. It's called Far. They say today you can buy a ticket to the past. If you got enough cash, you can sit in your jacuzzi, admire your artwork on the wall. While a drunk man stumbles in the street, he grabs for a hand to help him to his feet. The people are passing by, he's a ghost in their eye. This shouldn't be allowed. There's codes of conduct in this town. Juan sells his artwork down at the market. What he can't sell, he'll try and hawk it for some pennies in his pocket and a bottle in a bag and someone else's faded dreams. His cousin, his name is Pete. He sells his turquoise out on the street. The tourists are passing by. He's a gem in their eye. If they could petrify him, he could fit right in the living room. But it's far from where the way things used to be. It's far from where the way things were before, when people cared and wouldn't look down on people like me. When people cared and wouldn't look down on you and me. When people cared and wouldn't look down on you and me.
All right. You didn't play that last night, did you?
No, I was thinking about it, but there you go with my set list, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't put it on there, but I didn't look at it either. But I thought about it, and I should have played it, you know. There's some heavy words in there.
Yeah.
And, you know, turquoise out on the street, a lot of rhyme things. And I was up in Taos and when I wrote that song. So the original title was called Far From Taos. And then, you know, I remember I was reading some D.H. Lawrence, and I went to that La Fonda Hotel in Taos, and there's a room in the back where he had stayed up there, and he made some paintings, you know, and D.H. Lawrence was an exotica kind of painter and things like that, and kind of bizarre. But the owner let me go back to see his private collection, and I think maybe the creativity inspired writing about it, and so that's a little bit of the backstory.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Also too, when we had you on with Berta Sija Sen, I've mentioned, my little too sexy for my ribbon shirt, and you guys kind of started actually putting lyrics together.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, nice little jam session. So yeah,
That's a fun thing about creativity, like you take an idea and you give it to people and they come up with something else and then you add on to that. And before you know it, you got the makings of a song. I'm always for that. It's always fun in creating a song. And the whole process is very gentle, actually, the creative process. The muse, if it sees ego come in the room, if there's an ego in the room, it'll leave, and so you kind of got to be gentle and with people too, when you create, being gentle and allowing it, allowing the creativity to flow and thinking that, if you think that you control it, then it'll be a harder song to write. I mean, people do that. It's very formulated, but some songs, when they fall down from the heavens or the skies, are highly guided by the muse.
yeah, and also you got some good news. You reached the #1 spot.
Oh yeah, I redid the song called Indian Cars for the TV series Dark Winds. And yeah, just before we went on last night, I got an email from the people and saying that the Indian Cars reached #1. And it just gives a testament to the staying power of that song. I always say you play the long game. And that's evidence that, like you play the long game, and in this game, there's, being an older performer, there's a certain sense of even ageism, where people tend to discount you or think it's all about this and that. But I think seeing the Rolling Stones, inspired me. And a side story, one time I got to meet Keith Richards and I gave him an Indian choker, a really nice one. My friend Nicky Hopkins, the piano player from the Stones album, arranged it, but he passed away. And Nicky was going to produce me in the 90s. And so I met all like Bill Wyman and the Stones, and I gave Keith a Indian choker, and I see him wearing it in a picture. And so he was a very nice person, and their music is inspiring in that way of keeping your dreams going. Play that long game. No guarantees, but play it, But yeah, so Indian Cars is #1 in Turtle Island in Canada. And there's a lot of good songs on that countdown too. It's a countdown station out of Winnipeg. I think it's called NCI. But they do wonderful things of bringing awareness and bringing our songs to the mainstream. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, because that's where I kind of look into to see what's new, people that are entering their submissions, and yeah, that's where I come across a lot of new indigenous bands that actually some of them been around for a while, but it's good to bring them.
There's some great bands on that list too, and great musicians across Turtle Island, and I would encourage other American Indian natives and to submit and cross the border, because the border, we didn't cross the border crossed us. And so, just like as in Mexico, don't confine yourself to the United States or, see Turtle Island as our territory and practice sovereignty, I think that's what you got to do is practice that and be part of it. And I would encourage more and more. And this year I got a record deal up in Canada called with Ishko Day Records. And it's very ironic, Dave. I'm enrolled in a Canadian tribe, the Anishinaabe. Like what I said, we didn't cross the border crossed us. It's in northern Minnesota, and it's right on the border of Ontario and Minnesota, right on the border, called Couchiching, and that's where I'm enrolled in.
Yeah, yeah, because that IMC Indigenous Music Countdown, yeah, that's where you reach number one. And again, congratulations on that.
Yeah, and to Ishkode Records too. They're a native label up in Canada, and they're really making headways with a lot of the artists. And I'm proud to be part of it. We put a little EP, a 4-song sampler out with them. The song called Frybread Rant. You know, I played a little bit. I talked a little bit about the rant yesterday in the song called Frybread, and then we re-released Frybread too with the fiddles and the real version, the early version of it. I was in the studio in Tempe, and I used Glenn Campbell's band, and that was quite an opportunity. And then another song called Say Your Name, not Say Your Name, but Book of Life, and it's one of my deeper songs. I always have trouble doing live because there's so many lyrics. I don't know. I know a lot of lyrics, but I kind of curse myself, say I'll never be able to, but I will, you know.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, if you want to play one more,
Okay.
and then yeah.
I've been riding in my Indian car, the pound of the wheels drumming in my brain. My dash is dusty, plates are expired. Please, Mr. Officer, let me explain. Got to make it to a powwow tonight. Be singing 49 down by the riverside, looking for sugar, riding in my Indian car. Hoka, hey, everybody out there, join me. Got my T-bird on the dashboard, ain't got no spare. A feather from an eagle, ain't got no care. The road is empty and my bottle of desire. Daylight is breaking, the sun touches fire. Got to make it to a powwow tonight. Singing 49 down by the riverside, looking for sugar, riding in my Indian car. Okay, hey! You're away on a high. car's dented, the radiator steams. One headlight don't work. I got a stick I prop up my back, opening of my car. My car is dented, the radiator steams. I got a sticker, says Indian Power. We're on a circuit of an Indian dream. We don't get old, we just get younger. We're flying down the highway, riding in our Indian cars. My car's dented, the radiator steams. One headlight don't work, the radio can scream. I got a sticker, says Indian Power. I stuck it on my bumper, that's what holds my car together. We're on a circuit of an Indian dream. We don't get old, we just get younger when we're flying down the highway, riding in our Indian cars. Hoka, hey! Hoka! The live version.
Yep. To add it all to one of your remix, huh?
Oh yeah, yeah. Add it all. And, you know, I got a sticker that says Indian Power. I stuck it on my coffee cup. That's what holds my coffee cup together.
Well, I thought it was a good place to put that sticker.
Yeah. So thank you all for listening today on this station, and thank you the crew here for putting us live and on stream. Really appreciate it. And so, miigwech, and I'll come back, you know, and keep playing the music of our brothers and sisters. Miigwech.
Yeah, again, thanks for coming and also playing in the indigenous rhythms, voices of Turtle Island, and to start off this little series. And yeah, have a safe trip back home.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, that was Secola with a little taste of live action. We'll play these real quick.